Greetings and welcome. My name is Jake Rayson. I'm a forest gardener and a forest garden designer, and welcome to the Forest Garden live stream every Wednesday at 10 o'clock in the UK, whatever time that may be. I think it's Greenwich Mean Time now. It was British Summer Time, but it changes, it shape shifts. So very blustery day today, kind of 40-50 mile an hour winds and some rain as well. So I'm going to give a demonstration as best that I can of a ground cover. So if I get a chance, I will put the phone onto a tripod, but I have to be a bit aware of how much water there is. I'll just give you a quick, hold on, just turn the camera around. So yeah, that's the weather coming in. Oh, it's calmed down a little bit, and yeah, the windbreaks aren't really doing their windbreak thing. They're not really big enough, so I'm going to put some more windbreaks in, and I'm putting dead hedges in here. This is going to be some dead hedges, and that's why this is the quince tree, which was fine until July when it got blown over by the gales. So I'm going to, I've staked it in, but it needs to be cut right back, and I'll restake it, and that dead hedge will give it a bit more protection. Trying to rescue it, and this is another casualty. This is Annie Elizabeth. So yeah, more dead hedges, more windbreaks. So today, whoa! So today, I wanted to show you the process of. I'm going to hide the chat now. I'm going to show you the process of creating a ground cover. So with a forest garden, there's basically three major steps. The first step is to look, survey, see what's there, look around your garden, figure out what you want, figure out what's already there, figure out where the wildlife is, where the wildlife lives, what the features are, and to what the angle is, how much wind there is. And that's the first stage, and design the forest garden. This is all in my course, the Backyard Forest, and that's the first stage. And the second stage is to plant the canopy trees and the shrubs. So here is an East Asian pear, Shinseki, which is a lovely tree, a little bit battered. But that's the next stage, is plant the canopy layer. Well, to be honest, put in the dead hedges and the windbreaks and the canopy, and that's the next stage, that's the next major stage. And then once you've done that, then you can prepare the ground. So at that stage, you can keep it like grass at the top there. You can keep it grass with the trees in, and just keep it mown once or twice a year. And then the next stage is to prepare the ground and put the ground cover and the shrubs in. So I'll just show you what we've got here. This is going to be the new Perennial Veg Area. So there's kind of an annually veg area down here, and this will be the new kind of Perennial Veg Area. And I'm going to put in some whole range of perennial vegetables. And the whole idea is perennial vegetables. It will be Turkish rocket and spinach plants like Good King Henry. And I've put some alliums in the sunnier spots. I will put alliums in there as well. So what I've done first of all, in this kind of, there's two kind of pretty big beds, and they will get a bit shady, so there won't be that vast amounts of sun here. But the first thing I'm going to do, I have done, is to put woven plastic sheet mulch down, and leave that down for 3 to 4 months, and then it kills off the grass. And it's kind of a lot. If you de-turf, then you lose the nutrients, and then you've got to have to put somewhere to put the turf, which is fine. You can make mounds and shape the garden, but sheet mulching is actually more beneficial for the soil. But I'm not a big fan. I'm kind of becoming less and less of a fan of plastic, because it gets, you can see here, it gets worn out. I've used this one a couple of times. It gets worn out, and then you get bits of plastic everywhere, and it has to go in landfill. Once it's got too many holes in and is too knackered, it goes in landfill. And landfill is just somewhere else. It's still on this planet. It doesn't go anywhere. It goes into the ground. So I think just if you can not use plastic. So the alternatives really for a smaller space is to use cardboard sheet mulch, and then what you can do is then to put a growing medium on top, whether it's compost or something, or you can put a ground cover on top and then plant through it. That's a possibility. And then another alternative that I'm going to be looking at for the next for the ornamental forest garden next door is to use a mechanical scraper, is to use a mini digger and scrape the grass off, basically. But again, you know, you're losing nutrients, and that's a downside. But I am going to create mounds and to make windbreaks, so it's being used, and I will be putting in mineral accumulators, nitrogen fixers in the soil as well. So it will take a time to develop. Obviously, you are going to destroy habitat, but it's better than plastic for a larger area, is my humble opinion. So let's get started. I'm gonna risk. Whoa, I'm gonna take off the umbrella. So excuse me, this is not how I wanted to do it. I'm going to risk the tripod. Dun, dun, dun. You probably can't hear me. Well, you won't be able to hear me when I get more than 2 feet away from them. Oh, good lord. Okay. So what I'm doing, I'll show you here, is you pull up the woven plastic sheet mulch, and never a good idea. Don't work with sheets of stuff when it's blowing a gale either. That's a really dangerous idea. And then what you have, I will only show you on a small patch. There's no point showing you on everything, because you just get the whole, you know, you would take up the whole lot. So you would take up all the sheet mulch, and then you would start to put down the bark. I am going to move this bit because I just want to see what it's like. And then what you'll find is it is quite incredible. Whoa! When you've moved, when you've got the sheet mulch off, just that, you know, this has been down for 5 months, I think, 6 months maybe. Right. So sorry about the not particularly good camera work. I need a camera person. Whoa! Any volunteers? So, whoa! So this is a Cornice Windbreak I put in here because look at that poor sweet chestnut. It's a bit multi-stem because it got eaten by slugs when it was a baby. But these are dogwoods. I just put sticks in the ground. I quite literally just put sticks in the ground. It's wet enough here. They have grown into a windbreak hedge. So they're going to provide an extra bit of cover. And now what I'll show you. So you've got this. A very kind of friable soil, and it's pretty good. You know, this is fine, but you want to cover it up as soon as you can. Don't leave bare soil. The nutrients get washed out. A whole lot of seeds the seeds will start to germinate. They're starting to germinate now, just by the application of a bit of light. And then you can see what the problem is with plastic. You can see that, yeah. So bits of plastic everywhere. So no to plastic. I have changed my ways. So that's the soil. Let me pop this down. And now you want to cover this up. Obviously this is going to be on mass. I have got figures for this on my website, so just click calculations for how much bark or wood chip mulch that you need. Now the idea here is we're going to put down a bark mulch, and the reason I prefer bark, because this is some bark up here. It's about £50 a tonne. and a ton covers, I think a ton covers 100 square meters. So you know, it's kind of not the cheapest thing in the world, but and that's from a either a timber yard or something like that. I get mine from MD Recycling in Cardiff, and it's more inert than wood chip. Now the wood chip you can use if you've got a friend who's a tree surgeon, then you might be able to get a free supply of wood chip, and if it's free, I mean, that's good, and it does work. So don't dismiss it. But I find it does decompose. This is wood chip that I've had from the a local tree surgeon, Birch Utilities. They just dumped a load off for us, which is brilliant, and that's free. But I tend to use this for paths more because it knits down more and compacts more, but it also turns into soil quicker as well. So those are the two options that you have. And then I'll put bark down on here, and then I will plant up the ground cover, which I've got here, which is ground ivy. Normally, well, it depends. You really need to grow your own ground cover because you need between 3 and 5 plants per square metre, and that's a lot of plants. So if you've got 100 square metres, that's 300 to 500 plants, and if you're buying them, that's even at, there's British Wildflower Plants do like sell ground ivy at 75p for a plug. That's still a few hundred quid. So best to propagate them yourself. A much cheaper way of doing it. So that's something you do at the beginning of the process. So that's what we're going to do. So soil, sheet mulch removed, bark on, plant the ground cover, and then I'm going to show you I won't actually plant them, but I've got some examples of what I could plant here, and a bit of compost possibly for the plants, and then the final thing is to put on a temporary ground cover, which is mustard. I'll come on to that. So that's kind of process. Bark or wood chip, put in your plants 3 to 5 per square metre, and then temporary ground cover. Okay, nice and straightforward. And it's just a lot of bloody work, really. This is the thing. It's like gardening. I took my 10-year-old came out the other day and helped me. Well, I kind of forced him to be honest. And he said, "It's a lot. This gardening is a lot of work. You have to do a lot of things, don't you?" I was like, "Yeah. Sorry about that." Right, the camera might go over. In which case. That's getting a bit windy again. Okay. And it doesn't go very far. That's the bark down, and it doesn't go that far. Really, that's one wheelbarrow full. So you can work out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 20, 30, 50 wheelbarrows for that lot, plus 40 for that lot. 90 wheelbarrow loads, which is a lot of wheelbarrows and a lot of exercise. It's all good for me. So that's the first thing. So I could be using wood chip, but I'm deciding not to. And the next thing is to plant out the ground cover. Now, so what I was saying before, this is what I've got, ground ivy, okay, which is this stuff here, Glaucoma heteracea. It's a British native, dies back in winter, so it looks a bit scruffy in winter. It's nice for kind of, it does scramble up things, but it's easy to control. You can just pull it back. But it's a kind of nice, well-behaved ground cover. Creeping Buttercup is a bit harder to move about because it has big old roots in it, and it climbs more as well. It's a bit taller, 60 centimetres, whereas ground ivy is about 40 centimetres generally, but it's more controllable. So I'm going to plant this out at 3 to 5 per square metre. It kind of comes off in a sheet. This has been growing on the compost heap. We can't see that. So I just kind of pulled up a sheet of it like that. But yeah, normally you kind of get you grow the. Depends how you grow your ground cover plants. You can either have them in pots, or it's actually easier sometimes just to pull out a whole handful and redistribute them. Okay, and I go, wee! Look cool, that one. Like one plant, here comes the rain. That one plant. Oh, I wonder how long it will be before my phone breaks. Okay. And I'm just pulling out great big, chunks of it. Oh shit. Oh. Crikey. Oh, is it upside down? What's going on? Oh, I'm going to have to go under the thing. Oh. Hold on. It's decided to go upside down. I'm going to have to do the rest of the live stream upside down though. I might have to start and stop. Oh Christ, well, I knew it was a bad idea. Oh, there goes the tripod. Sorry about that. Yes, the wind blew the tripod over, and so now it was upside down. So hopefully, there we go, back to the right way up. Now, key thing to remember here: this grass path actually needs to be taken back a bit because you want to keep the grass paths to as smaller width as possible. That's kind of like too much, 1.5 meters. I'll deturf it along the edge. I'll make it a bit smaller, but the key thing to remember, if you're butting up against the grass path, is to plant ground cover plants thickly along the edges. Yeah, so you give them a chance to get established. Now, what I have been doing as well is to put logs down the edge, just to keep the grass in check until the ground cover gets established, and that has worked pretty well because the grass quite often is more wet, is better established than the stuff you just planted, and the grass will spill over. You get grass creep into your bed. So plant thickly along the edge and put in some sort of logs or some sort of mulch, thick mulch along the grass, just to knock it back a bit. Okay, and then and you want to be doing this. I don't know. I wonder if I can do this single-handed. No, that's a short answer. My tripod's absolutely covered in mud. Oh God, this is funny. Okay, so here we go. I'll persevere with this because it's just. I just want to do it, to be honest. Well, as you can imagine, this does take quite a lot of time. It's not the it's not the world's quickest job. Particularly if you're faffing about with there's a speedwell. This one here is a speedwell. Jamanda speedwell, I think, but I'm not very good with the old world. Some plants need to be Buttercup. Don't want to put that in. Well, not here. I'll put it down next to the polytunnel. Wow. That's steep now. I'll put that down by the polytunnel as well. Okay. So, sorry about that. There we go. So I'm just planting up the edge. It's all a bit haphazard. It's messy. This won't win any prizes at Chelsea. Whoa! There goes the wind again. Okay. So, I don't know what you can see, but ground ivy and planting it really thickly along the edge. Right. And because it's not in pots, it's actually really difficult to tell where one plant is. You just basically just taking clumps. This is stuff from the compost heap, as I said. So I'm just taking clumps of it, and it will grow, you know, it will grow from small bits. That's the important thing, is to get it in the ground. And it's a really good time of year to do it. It's really, really mild here at the moment, so the ground's still warm and they will get established. And what I generally do when I'm doing this properly, I mean, you know, this is, oh Christ, can't even see anything. When I'm doing this properly, I'll lay out the ground cover plants in a kind of, I'll just throw them on the ground and say one there, and do it like that, and then go around afterwards. And I'll plant them in. Backbreaking. I've forgotten about how it would be. But you're only doing this once, that's the joy of it. Whoa! And this is whipping dirty. This is not okay, so you got that in. I'll do for now. I'll have to do the rest of it. And now what I'm going to show you, I'm absolutely covered. I've covered the tripod in mud. That's brilliant. Right, so it looks messy. Okay, do not worry about it. The most important thing, I haven't got quite enough bark on there to cover it. You want to be covering up. If you can see any bare soil, that's not what you want. So the bark will just, you know, you just want it to cover the bare soil, yeah? You don't want any bare soil showing. And then that will just keep the weeds down. I planted up a lot of them along the edge, a lot of ground ivy along the edge. And then the next step is to sow a temporary ground cover. Now, the reason for a temporary ground cover is if you don't sow a temporary ground cover, what will happen is grass will creep in and things will start seeding. And the idea of a temporary ground cover is that it grows for a year, or it grows it grows for one season and then it dies back, and that gives a chance for the ground cover plants you put in to get established. That's the whole point of it. So what I use and what works really well here, and it really depends upon where you are, you know, what ground cover will work. Because it's mild, generally quite mild here, I can get away with using white mustard, Sinapis alba. I buy it agriculturally, and it's you know, it's mustard seed. So it doesn't taste very nice. I actually did try some the other day. So what I do, what you do is you sow thickly mustard seed over that patch, and that'll germinate and come up. Maybe it will come up in the winter and cover it temporarily in the winter. Maybe it won't. Maybe you have to put a bit more in spring. Okay, and that's what you end up with. Lots of little, and it will germinate on the bark, and most of it won't survive, but some of it will, and it will provide temporary cover. It grows to about a metre, 90 centimetres, 80 centimetres to a metre, I think. Yellow flowers, and it just doesn't self-seed. It's quite funny. It just grows for a little bit, provides a little bit of cover, and then the ground life is established. Oops. Now, if you were planting shrubs, I'll put shrubs into the bare soil and then plant around them. This is how I've done things. I'm not putting shrubs in here because this is all going to be wood chip paths and onions and spinachy plants and that kind of thing. I've just got a couple of examples of time's going on. A couple of examples of what I will be planting. Elephant garlic. That's one bowl. And they're expensive and they take a while. I mean, they're replant perennials. You harvest them and then eat some and then grow the others. And the other thing I'm growing is potato onions. So I've got about, I can't remember, 100 or something. I've given some to Lynn, actually. I posted some of these to Lynn, I think. There we go. So that's Lynn, who's not here today. She can't make it. So that's a potato onion, and this is treat them like shallots, basically, oniony shallots. They grow, they divide, and then you harvest some and replant the rest. But that's good. We use a lot of onions, so it'll take quite a lot of time. Right then, so hope that's interesting. Here's my thanks everyone for watching. I'll be back in the Zoom in 5 minutes. I'm going to grab a cup of tea on the way.